Hello, I'm Bob Ross, and I'd like to welcome you to the 15th Joy of Painting series. First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me back for another series of painting shows. And if this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to get out your brushes and paint along. Or tell you what, just drag up the old easy chair and spend a relaxing half hour enjoying some of nature's masterpieces. We're painting with about a dozen oil colors, a few unorthodox brushes, and in each program I'll try to show you how easy it is to paint and how much fun you can have doing it. So I'll tell you what, let's start out today. I have run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint this little picture with me. And while they're doing that, let me tell you what I've already got done up here. I've got my standard old 18 by 24 pre-stretched canvas, and onto that I've put a thin, even coat of the liquid white, so it's all wet and slick and ready to go. So let's do a fantastic little painting together. I'm going to start out today with the old 1-inch brush here and go into the smallest little amount of the cad yellow. I thought I'd do a little winter scene today. Reach right over here and get a touch of the red. Have a little bit of bright red and cad yellow on the 1-inch brush. Just mix them on the brush. What the heck? Let's go right up here. Maybe we'll have a little sun up here in the sky. So decide basically where your sun's going to live. Maybe right about in there. Right along in there. We just drop that in. And we're just looking for sort of a circular shape. And I'll wash the brush. And if you've painted with us before, you know we always wash our brushes with odorless thinner. Be sure it's odorless or it'll run everybody in the neighborhood away. Now then, let's have some fun. Take titanium white, be right back. Reach up here, get a little touch of the alizarin crimson. A little bit more maybe. There we go. A little alizarin crimson. Happy little color. Now then, right around this first little circle, I'm going to use little crisscross strokes and just throw in a little bit of color. Like so. Just like so. A little bit over in here. There we go. See? But use these little crisscross strokes. We're going to blend all this together, and if you just draw a big circle around here, it's a son of a gun to try to blend it together. And the little crisscross strokes, they blend pretty easy. All right. Now then. That's pretty already. It's just some nice warm color. Sometimes winter scenes can be so cold that they're not fun to look at. So I like to put a little touch of warmth into my little winter scene. I'm going to add the least little amount. I have not washed the brush. A little amount of phthalo blue right into that crimson and white, so it makes sort of a lavender color. Let's go back up here. Now then, right around here, we'll just add a little bit of that. Just like so. Still using little crisscross strokes. There. A little more of the blue and a little more of the crimson. And practice just mixing your colors on the palette using a brush. That way you don't end up with one old dead color. There's excitement happening in your brush. There. Okay, see, now we're just sort of blending all those together. And I tell you what, I'm going to reach right up in here and get a little touch of the midnight black. A little touch of black. There. Okay, let's just put a little bit of that right in the corner here. And that'll darken these edges. Bring it all together. A little bit for the other side. Like so. Now then, we'll take a 2-inch brush and be sure it's good and dry. Be sure it's dry because you don't want your color to run. We use a very firm, dry, thick oil paint here. And we want it to stay as dry as possible so we can blend color while it's still wet. There. Now, just using still the crisscross strokes, I want to blend this to where you can't tell where one color stops and the next color starts. And it makes a very soft, beautiful sky. It has some nice colors in it. There we go. See there? A little bit over here. But you always blend from the light area out. From the light out. There, we got a little hair right there. We'll just pop him right off. If you get a hair on your canvas, just take the corner of the brush and pop him off. Okay. Now then, let me grab a fan brush. Let's get crazy today. I'm going right back into that black. Just put some color right into the fan brush. Just black. You can reach up here and get a little bit of the Van Dyke brown if you want to. Mainly black. Okay, maybe in our world, maybe there's a happy little cloud that lives. Ooh, this is going to be a big cloud. It comes right around. There it is. Like so. Maybe right on down here. Tell you what, let's do. Let's put a sun in there. For that, I'll just use my finger and a little bit of titanium white. And that yellow color that we put in first, the reddish and the yellow, that becomes the aura around the sun. Now then, come right back up here. I'm going to take my knife and just zip it off. The value still remains in the canvas, or the light spot. There. Okay. And maybe there's another little cloud. And I'm just using little rocking strokes here. Maybe he just lives right there. Like so. And in your painting, you decide where all these things live. Because this is your world right here, and you can do anything that your heart desires here. Maybe that one comes right across. Anything that you want to do here. Let's have some more dark up in here. And we're going to come back with a large brush and blend all these out. All we're doing now is just applying a little bit of color. Maybe there's some little stringy, streaky clouds that live in here, like so. See them? Okay, there they are. Just a few here and there. Now then. Once again, be sure your brush is good and dry. And let's come right up in here and just begin blending these. Now you can blend them to any degree of softness that you want. You can blend them till they absolutely become part of the sky, but that's really not what we're looking for here. We want these to stand out a little bit. There we go. Now as your brush picks up paint, you can just give it a good wrap like that, and that'll remove that excess paint without going through the whole entire cleaning procedure again. There we go, maybe over here. Look at there. Knock off that excess paint. Very lightly right here, just barely grazing the canvas. Well, you can make a wild sky here in just a minute. See, but the more you blend it, the more it all comes together. There we go. If any area is too dark or too light, change it. You can do anything here, absolutely anything. All right, I think we've got a pretty nice little sky there for just a little quickie. So let's have some more fun. Tell you what, let's build a little mountain back here. For that, I'm going to take some black, a little touch of the Prussian blue, some brown, and alizarin crimson. So we have black, blue, crimson, a little bit of brown. Pull it out as flat as you can get it. Go straight down, cut across, get our little roll of paint. Okay. Now then, you have to make a major decision. Where does your mountain live in your world? Right there it lives. Now I want these mountains to be far away, so I don't want them to get too big in proportion to the painting here, about like so. There. Now we take a large brush, and because this is wet, we can literally move color on here. So we can grab this and pull it, just pull it. And it'll mix with the liquid white, and automatically, your mountain will get lighter in value toward the base. And that's what we're looking for. Look at there, that son of a gun's just sort of floating around having a good time already. That easy. There we go. Now we can take, let's take a little bit of titanium white, pull it out flat. I'm going to put the least little touch of the bright red into it, least little touch. I don't want to set these on fire. Just want to give it a little pinkish hue. Pull it out flat, and once again, our little roll of paint. Now then, barely touch the canvas, barely touch. See there? And you have to make some big decisions here. Where's light going to strike your mountain? Maybe. Yep, right there. Wherever you want it, that's where it ought to be. And you want the paint to break. And by break, I mean have all these little holes in it. And that's done by a very, very delicate little touch. Oh, you're just barely grazing the canvas. And I was teaching my son Steve to paint. I used to tell him just pretend he was a whisper, and he floated right across the mountain. That easy. Gentle. Make love to it. Caress it. There you go. See, you can do anything here. And the secret to doing anything is believing that you can do it. Anything that you believe you can do strong enough, you can do. Anything, as long as you believe. Taking a little phthalo blue and white here. Just mix it together. And once again, flat, our little tiny roll of paint. Now then, let's put a little shadow here and there. Still that delicate little touch. Delicate touch. A little bit right in there, like so. And that easy. You can make those little mountains just pop right out. And you can go back and add little bumps and peaks and whatever you want in there. There we are. See? Okay. Now, clean, dry 2-inch brush. I want to tap the base of that. There we go. Just tap it. Like so. And then very gently, lift upward. There. There we are. Okay. I'll tell you what, here's a dirty brush. We'll just use it. I'm going to go back into that same color I used to make the mountain. Same old color. And take the old 2-inch brush, add a little white to it, and just load a little color right onto the 2-inch brush. There, just tap it firmly. Shoot. Okay, now then, maybe there's a little back in here. Yep, you're right. There lives a little foothill right here. Just using the corner of the brush and tapping gently downward. Like so, see? That's all there is to it. Maybe it goes, we don't know where it goes over here. What the heck? What the heck? Now we can take a 1-inch brush and lift upward here and there. Just short, tiny little strokes. Tiniest of strokes. Okay, now if you want to create the illusion of mist under there, take the 2-inch brush, take the top corner of it, and just tap it firmly right on the bottom. There you go, just tap it. Then lift gently upward. Okay, maybe in our world, tell you what, maybe there's another row of foothills there. We'll go back into the same color, only add more of the dark. I want this to be a little bit darker. As things get closer to you in a landscape, they should get a little darker. There, see, isn't that easy? You can drop in another row. And each time you put in a row of little foothills like this, it creates another plane in your painting, and it helps create that illusion of distance. And tap right here on the base, and that'll give us our misty effect. Lift upward. Shoot, that easy. We got him. Now then, maybe let's put some snow in there. We'll go right in. I'm just using the same old 2-inch brush. We'll go right into some titanium white. Get the least little touch. Be right back here. Least little touch of the phthalo blue. Just enough to give the white a little coolness. Okay. And maybe we said this was going to be winter, so come right up here and watch. You have to decide where your snow's going to live. See there? Least little touch of the blue in there. That just gives it a feeling of a little coldness. Don't want it to get too warm. Snow it all melt and run off on your floor and make a big puddle. There we go. I see something back here. When you're painting with this method, you'll learn very quickly that you see things happening and you get all excited. You can change your mind right in midstream. I see a place for a nice tree. So I'm going to take some black, Prussian blue, and Van Dyke brown. Blue, black, and brown. Mix it up. Let me clean my knife off here. And I'll tell you what, we'll just use the small fan brush. This is number 3 fan brush. Loaded full of color, both sides. A lot of paint. Okay, let's go up here. Maybe there lives in our world, and he lives right there. Just a happy little evergreen. Now, give it a little upward push. See there? Just push upward. I want these limbs to go there. See that? Isn't that fantastic? You can build a tree that easy. You can. Let's give him a friend. I don't want this little tree to be lonely. You know me. I think everybody deserves a friend. Friends are maybe the most precious commodity we have. There we go. Now then, to blend this right into the snow, I'm going to take some white and grab the bottom of it with a brush, and allow some of that color. Look at there. See? And we can set him right up on a little hill. There we go. See, remember the old song says, on a hill far away? There it is. That's a hill far away. Now, once in a while, I'm going to add the least little touch of alizarin crimson to my color, and that'll warm it. We have cold colors, the blue and white, and I'm going to put a little bit of the crimson and warm it here and there, like there's a little sunlight just zinging right across there. Just warm it. Okay, let me find that little brush again. Shoot, that was so much fun. Let's make a bigger tree. Still using the number 3 fan brush, but you could use number 6, number 3, whatever. Doesn't make any difference, as long as it works for you. Maybe in our world there lives right up here by the sun. Boy, he's up here checking out the sun. Right there. Another tree. This one's going to be closer to us, so proportionately, it'll be bigger. It'll be bigger. That'll make him look like he's closer. There. Now, be careful that you don't cover up the sun. Shoot, you worked so hard to put it in there. Look at that. See, old tree lives right in your brush. All you got to do is just push him out. And we'll decide maybe he lives right down to there. And let's give him a friend too. He's sort of crooked. There. That's a crooked tree. We'll send him to Washington. There we go. So we'll push up another little friend. That easy. Okay. Now then, let's put a tree trunk here and there. For that, take a little white, a little dark sienna, mix them together, pull them out very flat, cut across, and once again, our little roll of paint. There we are. And just touch here and there. Just let the indication of a little tree trunk. A little bit back in here. These are far away, so you're not going to see as much detail. You can take the point of the knife and just cut through here and there. Put in the indication of a little stick, twig, whatever you want. That easy. There. I'm going to wash my little brush here. And for the little brush, I don't beat it. I just wipe it on a paper towel. There. It's not as much fun to beat and bang on it. It's too small. Okay, I'm going to use some white and phthalo blue. Just mix them with a brush. Shoot, no big deal. White and phthalo blue. Okay, let's go back up here. Maybe on these little trees, we'll just put the indication of some highlights with this, just to make them really stand out. Don't kill all your dark. Don't kill all your dark. That contrast is so pretty, that dark color against all these nice bright colors. Okay, maybe a little touch back in here. I don't want a whole bunch back here. I want to keep detail away from these because I want them to have that illusion of distance. There, maybe a little more right in there. Wherever you want them. Now then, find my brush. Come right up under the bottom of that tree there. Let's have some fun. Take a little bit of our titanium white. I want to grab that and pull. Allow it to pick up a little bit of that color. See there? And once again, it's unreal how by just grabbing a little touch of that color, you can make all kinds of beautiful effects in the snow. Now, one thing you might have noticed, when I'm doing winter trees, it's very rare that I ever put any green into them. Because if green gets into your snow, it just doesn't look right. The only thing worse than yellow snow is green snow. So it's very rare I ever use green in these trees. All right. A little more white. See, that little bit of color helps separate all that. There we are. Okay, let's get crazy today. Shoot. Tell you what, I'm gonna grab a big old round brush, and maybe there's some big trees that live here. I'm gonna take a little of Van Dyke brown, some dark sienna, and I'm just gonna tap the round brush into it. Just tap it. Just tap it. Let's go right in here. I'm going to start at the base of these trees and work upward. That way the darkest area will be down here, and it'll give the indication of the shadows. Nice shadows happening. And you have to make a big decision here. Where does your tree live? How tall is it? Is it healthy? Is it not? Is it dead, alive? You have to make all these big decisions. There we go. Maybe it comes right on down. Wherever. Doesn't matter. You just put it where you want it. There. Let's go on the other side and have a happy little tree over there too. Maybe right here. See there? But you can put trees wherever you want them in your world. Maybe this comes right up here. There. Now then, I'm going to take my script liner brush, put some paint thinner on it, and go right into the brown. I want this to be as thin as ink. A lot of paint thinner. Okay? Now then, here and there, let's just put the indication of a little tree trunk. Let's go on the big tree on the other side here. It needs some too. See there? Just a happy little tree trunk here and there. There. Maybe here and there you can see the indication of just little things, and some of them are coming clean up over. It adds interest and detail to your painting. Go back into my yellows here. I'm going to take a least little touch of yellow ochre, and I'm just going to tap that right into the bristles. A little bit of the bright red, but very little of the red. Okay? Now then, a little yellow ochre, and I'm just going to put the indication of a little highlight just right up here on the tree. And think about form and shape, and there's limbs in there that create all kinds of beautiful little things to happen. Look at there. This round brush will do fantastic things for you. Super for making trees and bushes. There. Okay, there we are. Maybe a little touch right out there. Wherever. I don't want much. I don't want this to get too bright. Just an indication, a little bit over in here too. But once again, pay attention to your form and shape. That'll really make your tree special. That's what makes you happy, is when that son of a gun works and you can see all those little bushes and stuff in there. There we go. Now, back to my big brush, and I'm going to grab this, and just like with the evergreens, I'm going to pull a little touch of that color right out into my painting. See, it'll look like shadows under there. See there? A little bit right there. And if you've painted with me before, you know we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. Shh. It's our secret. Don't tell anybody. I'm going back to my liner brush. Go back right into that good old Van Dyke brown. Get it very thin. Very thin. Just see a good place right here. Shoot, maybe the old farmer that used to farm out here, maybe he had a fence. Like so. Just take a liner brush. Maybe that fence goes over the hill. Look at there. Now we put some rails on it. Zoop, doo-doop, doo-doop. You don't make those little noises, it don't work. Look at that. See, maybe a little shadow. Just touch it, give it a little pull. Isn't that sneaky? And you can really get carried away. You take a touch of the liquid white and put the indication up on top here. There's a little snow laying up here. Whatever. Okay, back into my brown. I'm just going to put an indication here and there, but just a little stick and a twig. So it's a nice way to sort of clean the edges up and add a little interest. A little paint thinner. I'll go right into some bright red. I think we'll sign this one. We'll sign him right here. Now when you sign your painting, because I get letters all the time saying, I don't want to sign my painting in red. That's fantastic. Sign it in any color that you want. There's as many different ways to sign your painting as there are artists. And I think I can put this in one of my books. One of the most memorable signatures I ever seen was a fantastic lady, and she used to sign her painting, Grandpa's Wife. And it was different, and everybody remembered it. So come up with your own signature, whether it be a name, an initial, a symbol, whatever you want. And then it's special to you. And until next time, I'd like to wish you happy painting, God bless, and I'll see you again. Hi, welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. It's a fantastic day here, and I hope it is where you're at. So I'm glad you're here, and I hope you do a little painting with us and enjoy it as much as we do. Let's start out today and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with me. And as usual, they'll come across in the same order as I have them on the palette, starting with the white and working around. And I have my standard old canvas up here, and I've already covered it with a nice thin even coat of the liquid white, so it's ready to go. So let's go. Let's just do a happy little painting today. It's such a beautiful day. We'll start with a little touch of the phthalo blue. We just use the old 2-inch brush, tap a little color into it. Just pull a little color out and tap the brush into it. That makes sure you got a nice even distribution of color, see, all the way through the bristles. Okay? Now then, let's go right up in here and we'll just use the little, just happy little strokes, just little X's, little crisscross strokes. And let's just drop in some beautiful little sky shapes here. Just sort of let it happen. Let it happen. There. See how easy it is to put in the sky? It doesn't take but just a second when you're using a big old brush. There we go. And today let's have a little water in the painting. I'm an absolute fanatic for water. Love it. There. So while we have this color on the brush, let's add just a tiny bit more, same color, and decide, well, we know water's going to be on the bottom down here, but other than that, we don't care right now. We'll just put a little bit of phthalo blue right in there, then from here. And notice that we're pulling from the outside in. That leaves that little light area here. And if everything works out just right, that'll look just like a little sheen of light coming across your painting. Makes it sort of pretty. Now then, very, very lightly, we'll just go over the entire canvas. That smooths everything out, but that little light area, it stays in there. Okay, same thing in the sky here. We'll just sort of blend it together a little bit. But I've left some holes in the sky, some light areas. Thought today we'd put in some happy little clouds. Okay, I'll wash this old brush. That's the fun part of this. This is where you take out all of your frustrations and hostilities and give it a good shake and just beat the devil out of it. Now, when you're doing that at home, you might want to invest a couple bucks in a brush beater rack, because you'll absolutely change the appearance of your whole house in about one beat, and then you're going to be upset with me. Let's take some black. Oh, and there it is, a little bit of blue, black and blue. Black and blue. Put a little bit of white in there so we can see what we got. I'm looking for a nice bluish gray color. Maybe a little more of the white. There, that's nice, nice. And we're going to use that to put a few shadows in our cloud today. And I'm just going to use the old round brush today. You can use the old round brush to do all kinds of things. Just pull it through there and get a little color on it. Maybe just the corner of the brush. We'll just put the indication. Well, it looks like a big old storm there. There. Just scrub in the indication of some shadows. Decide where your big clouds are going to live. And we'll just throw in a few shadows. Then we're going to come back and we're going to put some highlights. We'll turn these big violent looking clouds into happy little clouds. There we are. But just sort of little circular patterns. When I'm working with clouds, I always try to use circular patterns for everything I do. Maybe it's a little down here, wherever. And I have a couple of these old round brushes. I'm going to take another one and pull it right through titanium white. Be right back, right back. Get the least little touch of alizarin crimson. I'm going to put a little warmth into that. Okay, let's go back up here. Now then, with the white, let's put some highlights on these. I'm just taking the corner of the brush and just sort of snapping it, touching it as I come around. There, and begin working on some basic cloud shapes. Some basic cloud shapes. You need to work on the shapes. Maybe this old cloud just floats right around up here, wherever you want it to go. Wherever. There. Clouds are very, very free, so you put them where you want them in your world. Maybe there's another one right there. Maybe, yep, that comes right on down through there. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There. Over here. A big son of a gun lives right out here. And he comes right up through there. And this is a good exercise to teach you how to make some beautiful clouds. Very easy. Okay, now let me find a good dry 2-inch brush, and I'm going to just sort of mix this up, blend it together, where these two colors come together, very lightly. And I'll continually beat the brush. That removes excess paint from the bristles, because you're going to pick up a little paint here. Just blend it together. Just blend, very lightly. Very lightly. You can bring all these together to make some of the most beautiful little effects. There. Even if you've never painted a cloud before, this one will work for you. Now, a lot of times people like to put all kinds of colors in here. You know, there's, according to where you live, sometimes there's beautiful, beautiful colors in the clouds. I lived in Alaska for over a dozen years. And we have skies there that are, if I painted them, you'd think I was nuts. I've seen skies in Fairbanks that are brilliant red. Looks like the whole sky's on fire. And then at night, of course, you have the northern lights that dance and play. There's just no limit to what you can do. There we go. Very lightly, because we're using a very firm, dry paint here. You can go over this, you can blend it and bring it all together. And all I'm doing is beating the brush, once again, to remove any paint that I've picked up. See how you can fluff that? And you can make one son of a gun of a sky that easy. There. Okay. All right. Now then, let's have some fun. Let me, there it is. I'm going to go right back to my round brush. We'll use it for a little bit. I'm going to take some alizarin crimson, a little bit of phthalo blue. We'll just mix them on the brush here. Pick up that little bit of white that's laying there. Looking for sort of a bluish lavender color. bluish lavender color, and you just sort of mix them back and forth till you get them like you want them. Okay, load the brush up, and maybe back here in the distance lives some little foothills. All you got to do is take and tap downward. See, it's all there is to it. Maybe a little foothill. We don't know where it goes, wherever you want it. There. Just some happy little things that live far off in the distance. You don't see a lot of detail. You're too far away. And wherever. Or you can put a whole row of them in just a second. Clean, dry brush. I want to create the illusion of mist down here at the base of these. So with the top corner of the brush, firmly get in there and just tap that son of a gun. Just really raise K. There. Then lightly lift upward. And that easy. That easy. It'll create the illusion of mist. Okay. Tell you what, let's go back and get my same old brush, some crimson and some blue. There we are. Proportionately, I'm using much more crimson than blue. Okay, maybe there's some little grassy areas underneath here. We can just tap in some dark color. We're just tapping in some dark so our light will show. That's all we're doing. There. Maybe to about there. Okay. Maybe I'll use a 2-inch brush. You could continue to use a round brush, but both of them that I have are dirty. I want to put some highlights on there. So I'm going to go right into the yellow. Let me grab a little bit of that lavender, bluish lavender color. When you touch the yellow, then you're going to get a beautiful, beautiful green. Load some paint into this and push. Give it a little push like that. Okay, let's go up here. Now then, maybe back in here, there's some nice highlights on this. I want this to be very soft and very gentle. Look like velvet laying back here. Pick up a little yellow ochre, a little Indian yellow here and there. Vary the colors a little bit. Very soft. Quiet little area. This is one of them areas you like to go and just relax and sort of take life easy. There we are. Now, let's come forward. I'm going to take some black, some Prussian blue, alizarin crimson. I want a dark color here. And we'll just load that old round brush up with a lot of color. And maybe, yeah, right here, just some happy little bushes that live right here. This dark area will help push that back. And by pushing it back, then that will reinforce our illusion of distance and depth in the painting. If you've painted with me before, you know I'm sort of a nut for paintings that really look deep. Now then, we can begin getting serious here. Tell you what, maybe, yep, you're right. Start getting a little dark sienna in there too. Maybe, look at there. Right out of that brush grows a big tree right over my cloud. That's all right. If you learn how to make a cloud, then your time's not wasted. Anytime that you learn, you gain. Look at there. Beautiful old tree. And all we're looking for here is some basic tree shapes. There we go. Like so. Let me just let that come right on over. See, just sort of look at your painting and visualize, make big decisions. Just sort of let it go. Maybe, yep. We'll put another little tree that lives right there. And in your painting, you put as many or as few trees as you want. You could do just about this entire painting using nothing but the round brush. That son of a gun will do unbelievable things. I think you could do this entire painting using a round brush. There we go. Over on that side. Maybe. We'll put a tree over here too. Just like so. Okay, maybe. Here we go. Right on up. You have to make big decisions, though. How tall is that tree? Maybe he lives right along there. It's up to you, whatever you want. In here, we're just blocking in color, so it doesn't matter how we do it. Now then, we said we was going to have some water in here, so let's start worrying about reflections. This is wet, has the liquid white on it, so you can grab it and pull. See there? Now, if you try to do this on a dry canvas, you're going to be in agony city. But because it's wet, you can move the paint. Look at that, instant reflections, instant. Reflections used to drive me crazy when I was a traditional painter, and now it's so easy. Let me find, I use a liner brush. I'm going to go into some Van Dyke brown, get a lot of paint thinner. A lot of paint thinner. Go right into that brown. I want this to be very, very thin. And let's put indication of just some tree trunks here and there. Wherever you think they should be. Drop them in. Drop them in. There. And if you have trouble making your paint flow, add some paint thinner. Because if your paint's good and thin, then it'll flow right across there. There's one. Don't want this little tree left out. Give him a little trunk in there. Got to have something to hold up all this foliage. And there's little sticks and twigs and happy little things that grow back here. All the little birds have to have a place to sit, so they need little sticks and stuff too. There we go. Now then, let's use the old 1-inch brush. I'm going to go right into some of this dark color just to get a little on the bristles. This is the black and the blue. Then I'm going to drop down here to the green. Actually, it's yellow, but because of what I have on the brush, when I touch it, automatically it's going to turn green. If you have the least little amount of blue on your brush, when you touch down here, you've got instant green. Okay? Now let's put some foliage on this whole big tree up here. There. Look at that. Just all kinds of happy little things. As you've heard me say over and over, worry about shape and form. Think about your tree. Think about the limbs inside. There. So you can just create the illusion of all kinds of little things that are happening in here. There. Isn't that super? And it works so well. See, there's no big secrets to painting. Anybody can paint. All you need is a few tools, a little instruction, and a vision in your mind. And chances are you already have the vision. And we're showing you how to take a few very simple little tools and create all kinds of beautiful things. I'm going to a little Indian yellow, a little yellow ochre. We'll sparkle this one up a little. There. Now the round brush works very well for this too. There we go. A little bit here and there. And add a little sap green to my brush. Down in here where it's a little bit lower and shadows are a little stronger. Things down here would be a little darker. Ooh, this is where all them creatures live. There. Little squirrels play down in here and come down, dig hole, and hide their acorns for winter. I still got a little squirrel. I think I've mentioned some of the other series. I still have a little squirrel that lives with me. I've raised him ever since he was just a tiny baby. There. He's a son of a gun too. Boy, he eats better than most people do. Every day I fix him up this big gourmet meal. He lives in a great big tall cage I built. We call the cage Squirrel Hilton. I sort of spoil my creatures. But that's okay. Pretty soon here he's going to be turned loose and go back to nature. And he'll say, boy, he really had it made. He lived like a king for a while. Okay. I get off on some crazy subjects here. I talk too much. So let's go back to work. We'll take some black, some crimson, a little Prussian blue. I'm just getting into a bigger brush. Drop in some little colors here. Maybe there's a little peninsula that comes out there. See, it just sort of happens. We don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. So when things like this happen, use them. Shoot, they're your friend. Don't fight them. Don't fight them. That's what I like so much about painting this way. You don't have any tracings on here that you have to follow, any lines you have to stay inside of. You're only limited here by your imagination. And it, just like any other muscle in your body, your imagination increases proportionately to the amount of practice you give it. So practice. See things in your mind. Maybe over here. Watch here, watch here. Maybe there's one right there. But practice. Practice. If there's any secret to any style of painting, or in my mind to anything that you're ever good at, if there's any secret to it, it's just practice. That's all. I'm going to take a little bit of Van Dyke Brown. Pull it out very flat. Get tough with it. Cut off a little roll of paints right out of the edge of the knife. And maybe right up in here lives a little bit of land. See, begin thinking about your little pond here. If this is a little pond or lake or whatever you want it to be. Take a little dark cyan and white. Get that little roll of paint. And we'll put the least little indication here and there of some highlights that live on there. Don't want a great deal. Go into my liquid white. Let's put a little water line right here. Just a happy little light area. It sort of separates and breaks it all up. Light against dark, dark against light. Continually. That's what makes your painting stand out. See, we bring a little bush down here and there. A little touch of the touch. A little bit of bright red. There. Just to put a little sparkler here and there. Okay. Let's get the big brush. Shoot, that one's too slow. Tap a little more of the yellow into it. And just sort of give it a little push, Push. So there's paint right out on the tip. Then all you have to do is just touch and lay in all kinds of beautiful, soft little grassy areas. There. And sort of have these flowing downward. It'll give the impression that there's a recessed area here for your water to set in. Water's like me, it's lazy. Boy, it always looks for the easiest way to do things, and it won't climb a hill just to be pretty for you. It's going to look for that low area, and it's going to go in there and hide. Just lay there and be quiet. So, always remember that water, still water especially, is in a recessed area. There we go. Just varying back and forth between the yellow ochre, Indian yellow, a little bit of bright red now and then just to sparkle it. And the more you tap this, the softer it'll get. It'll get so soft. Just like green velvet laying out there. Years ago I used to do a lot of velveteen paintings. It's a nice way to paint. Nice way to paint. It's like watercolors. You only get one chance. If you make a mistake on velvet, you get a new piece of velvet and you start over again. On this, you scrape it off. Do whatever you want to do. Paint over it. That's one of the reasons I like oils so much, because it has to be the most forgiving medium of all. A little paint thinner, right on my liner brush. Just want to put the indication that there's a little tree trunk in here. We don't want this one left out, just standing up here by itself. There, see there? Okay. Now then, There it is. Take a little bit of that yellow, get a little touch of the bright red right there, and just tap a little color into it. Shoot, go right up in here. Let's just put the indication of some nice foliage out here on this little tree. Don't want to forget him. There we are. Nice little things are happening out here. Very nice. There. And it really pays if you leave a little dark area between the last bit of bright foliage and the bottom. It creates that illusion of shadow underneath. Maybe there's a nice bush that lives right here. Put in some basic little color. Then we'll take a brighter color and sparkly. See, a little bit of yellow. Make him just stand right out from the ones in the background. There he comes. There he comes. That easy. Okay. Back to the old big brush. See, I'm making that color a little bit brighter. It stands out. Looks like there's light zinging through there. You can go into a little bit of titanium white, for example. Look at there. Look right here. See? It gives the impression there's light just zipping through there, but don't go too wild with this. It'll lose its effectiveness if you put too much on there. There, a little touch right in there. Now then, back to my Van Dyke brown, and in here, let's just put us in the indication of a little bit of land down in here, wherever. See, just sort of scrub it in, maybe over here. Look at there. See there? Now then, back to our highlight color. That was dark sienna, touch of white, and just let it graze, just barely touching the high spots. Gentle touch to caress it. That's all there is to it. Like that. Now then, liquid white. We can go back in here and just cut in the indication, a little water line. Just that little light area in between. Really helps bring it out. Like so. A little bit over here. Don't want this side left out. Take the knife, scrape right through the paint here and there. Put the indication of some sticks and twigs that live in your sticks, bushes. There they are. That also helps create the illusion of depth and distance in your painting. Okay, I think we have one that's about ready for a signature. So I'll take some red, liner brush, then my paint down with paint thinner. I'll sign this one right over here in the corner. I really hope you've enjoyed this painting. It'll certainly give you a lot of experience, let you use the tools, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, as you can see, we worked with several different planes. Also, I showed you how that round brush would work. Once again, you could paint this entire painting using only the round brush. So I think we'll call this one finished. And from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting and God bless. Hi, I'm glad you could join me today, and welcome to the Joy of Painting. Tell you what, let's start out today, and first thing, have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with me. While they're doing that, let's go on up here. I have my standard old canvas up here. It's all covered with a nice thin even coat of the liquid white. It's wet and slick and it's ready to go, so let's go. I thought today we'd just do a fantastic little scene. Maybe we'll start with a little bit of yellow ochre. Maybe we'll do a building today. the smallest little amount of yellow ochre. Tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. All I want to do is just tint the sky. I want to put just the tiniest, tiniest little bit of color into the sky. Let's do something today that has a lot of greens in it. It's a lot of fun. Now this color will not show up much until we begin putting other colors around it. And then that son of a gun will, it'll shine then. Okay. There. Now then, I just use the same old dirty brush. I'm going to go into a small amount of alizarin crimson, and I'll reach right over, and I'm going to get the least little touch of Prussian blue. So I have a little crimson, a little blue, but very little paint overall. Very, very little paint. I don't want much paint today. Now, I made this lavender color because you can mix on top of the yellow and it remains pretty pure. It doesn't turn a bright green on you. If you was to use a bright blue sky with that little bit of yellow, oh, you'd have a happy green sky. And that's not what we're looking for today. We're just going to throw some little shapes right in here, wherever. A little bit more color on the brush, but very subdued. There we go. I think I'm going to cover most of this up with some big old trees and stuff, but a little of it will show through. So that's the reason we're putting this here, but we don't have to spend a great deal of time working on it and worrying about it, because we're going to cover, as I say, most of it up. There we are. Something like so. Okay. That gives us enough sky for what we're looking for today. So let's have some more fun. We'll go into some black, a little bit of black. Be right back. Get a little bit of the yellow ochre, black and a little yellow ochre. Reach right down here, be right back with some white. There we go. So we have black, a little yellow ochre, and some white. Gives us sort of a greenish color. Now, if it comes out too green, add a little crimson to it and that will dull it. There, I don't want it too bright yet. Okay, now then we have to start making some big decisions in our world. Let's just start putting in some background color for some happy little bushes and shrubs. And there, I'm just using the corner of the brush and tapping downward. Just sort of let these things just happen. Maybe, yep, there's one right there. But you can make these little trees as full or as thin as you want them, as tall or as short, dark or as light. Just using the corner of the 2-inch brush, that's all you need. Maybe, into our world, maybe right here lives another tree. See, that's all there is to it. This is sort of a greenish color, but it's not a bright green. It's very dull, very subdued. There. Okay, a little more color, and let's go right here. What the heck? Maybe there's just several layers of trees here. A little more. This is a fantastic way if you want to make a scene that looks like it's deep, deep in the woods, because you can put layer after layer of trees just by doing that, and you really have done very little work. And as I've mentioned before, boy, this is a lazy man's way to paint. I look for easy ways to make painting work, and we try to pass those on to you. There. As I say, I thought today we'd do a nice building. I get a lot of requests. People want to know how to paint certain types of buildings. In fact, in our newsletter, I just did a whole article devoted to nothing but buildings to try to help people out there. I can go into much more detail than I can here. But if you learn how to do one basic building, then from that you ought to be able to do about any kind of old building. Okay, that gives us some background material. I'm going to go right into that same color with a liner brush filled with paint thinner, and I want to thin this down. I'm going to put a little Van Dyke brown there too, what the heck. So I got brown and the same color we was using to make the trees, but very thin. Should be like ink. Let's go up here. Now you have to make some big decisions where your little tree trunks live in here. And just put in the indication here and there of all kinds of things happening. Some of them would be so quiet and so subdued you just barely can see them. There. And these are just like people. Some of them are tall, some short, some heavy, some very thin. So tree trunks grow however makes them happy. So don't be afraid to experiment and put in all kinds of weird ones. I think probably nothing will teach you more than just experimenting. Do as many different things as you have the nerve to do. Shoo, just go for it. There. Sometimes you learn more from mistakes than you do from trying so hard. So anytime you make a mistake, before you get upset with it, look at it. Sometimes those mistakes turn into be the best learning devices we have. There we are. And I mentioned on one of the other shows, maybe even a different series, I don't remember, I get letters from people who say they're just not satisfied with what they're doing, that their paintings they're just not coming out the way they want them. And I think if there's a secret to human nature, it's the fact that we aren't satisfied. We're never satisfied. I hope you're absolutely plagued with dissatisfaction through your whole life. Because if you are, you'll always strive to do better. And over I tell my students, if you ever do a painting you're completely satisfied with, you might as well quit. Because you have nowhere else to go. There. And the next one that I do is going to be my masterpiece. Probably won't be this one, but the next one. And I'm just jumping all around here and putting in all kinds of just little things. There. Now then. I'm just going to grab that same old brush. What the heck? Go right back in some black. Grab some of that yellow ochre. But this time I'm going to have a little more of the ochre. A little more crimson. So I got black, yellow ochre, crimson. Put a little bit more of the yellow ochre, so it's a little more greenish. And then we can, with that, we can just put the indication here and there of some highlights. Still using the same old brush. Doesn't matter. The 1-inch brush would work fine, or the round brush. There. Whichever one you like. There we go. I like this old big brush because it's faster, that's all. Here and there and there and here. There we go. Think about shape and form. Drop them rascals in there. There. A few little bushes that live back in there. There's another one. There we are. A few right there. See, it pushes all those sticks and twigs back and gives dimension to your woods. And that's what you're looking for. So all those fantastic little effects, they happen. I've painted thousands and thousands and thousands of paintings, and I still get excited about this when I watch it happen. There we are. Okay. Now then, maybe there's one strong tree that lives right in this area here. He's a little closer, so I'll take black, back to my yellow ochre, a little alizarin crimson, but I want this color to be a little darker, a little bit darker. And we've basically just used the same color so far in all these trees and bushes here, but just by varying the color, it gives us the impression that there's a lot of different depths here. All you have to do is just vary the color, the intensity or the brightness of the color. See, I'm going to have a bush right down here that's a little closer. Now then, back to my liner brush, paint thinner, and Van Dyke brown. Want this to be thin, like ink. Okay, and maybe up in here there lives Big old tree. See there? There. Big, strong tree. Maybe he's got an arm right there. Wherever you want him. Wherever you want him. Just sort of look around and see what trees look like. Make friends with a tree. You know, if you're a painter, we're allowed to talk to trees and little furry animals and things like that. Painters are special. We're a little different. We're a little weird, and we can get away with stuff like that. There we go. People look at me when I'm a little strange. I go around talking to squirrels and rabbits and stuff. That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to take a little bright red right on the liner brush. Just mix it up the same way. And let's just go right up here and just put the indication of a little highlight right out on the edge of this tree. Just make that little son of a gun stand out here and shine. Okay, just a touch of the bright red. And I'm going right back into that same old dirty brush. Take some yellow ochre, back in the same color. I want this dirty looking green color. Tap some into the bristles. Now then, let's put some nice highlights out here on this tree. Think about shape and form again. Don't just throw them in at random. There. Look at all the things happening in that tree. Did you ever think you could paint a tree that looks that delicate with a 2-inch brush? You really can. There. Okay, maybe down here, we'll put a little highlight on this rascal. Don't want him left out. Now then, let's get crazy. I'm going to fill this whole area up with color. So maybe the quickest way to do it, we'll just take some Van Dyke brown, a little black, just mix them on the 2-inch brush here. And let's just paint this in. Shoot, you could do this with a paint roller. Just put it in. I'm really pushing it right into the fabric though. A lot of pressure on the brush. There's not a great deal of paint here. I'm just really pushing the color right into the fabric. There. Just Van Dyke brown and midnight black. Brown and black. See, but that quickly, you have this whole bottom area filled in. Okay, same old brush. I'm just going to go into a little touch of the yellows. I'm looking for a dark, dirty green color. Tap a little bit of it into the bristles. And we can come back here and decide where our land lives. And we can begin tapping in a little bit of highlight, a little bit of grassy areas here. There. And all I'm doing is just tapping straight down. But I want this to stay quite subdued, quite dark, soft. There. And maybe when you do your painting like this, you'll want it to be brighter and shinier, and that's fine. Painting is very individual. Anything that you want in your painting, then that's right. That's just the way it should be. Because we each see nature through different eyes. And your painting should reflect what you see. Not what somebody else tells you is right, but what you feel is right. What you see with your own eyes, what you feel with your own heart. Because painting to me reflects love. There's a love here. There's a caring. There's a caring for nature. There's a caring for your fellow human being. And it shows. Your mood shows in painting. The way you feel the day that you do a painting will be there for as long as that painting lasts. It's a second of time captured and stuck on canvas. Maybe you want to look at it that way. Let's do a building. Heck with all this. I'm going to come right. What I find it's easiest if you take your knife and scrape out a basic shape. Let's do an old barn today. What the heck? Maybe we'll do a big building. As I say, I'm getting quite a few letters. People want to see how to do a big building, so we'll do an old barn. But see, you begin to make out the basic shapes. There. Now, come down like that. that. See, can you see what I'm scraping out here? That does two things. It allows you to lay your building out without being committed, but it also removes that excess paint that's underneath, so the next layer sticks easier. Maybe there's some, maybe it comes out like that. Goes down. Look at that. Over here, maybe it comes out right in here and down. However, you're still not committed. All you've done here is just lay out a basic shape. Now I'm going to take the knife, pull out some Van Dyke Brown, cut off a roll of paint. See that little roll of paint right on the edge there? Good. Now then, let's begin laying in our shapes. Now this is the time to start being a little more careful. Before, it didn't matter. But now you want to start making big decisions. Maybe this old barn's a little sway back. Let's do an old barn. Years and years it's set here. The old timbers in the middle are getting weak, and it's like me, it's tired. It's ready for a rest. There. Now we can just begin blocking this in. All we're doing is just block it in color. Just block it in color. There we go. That easy. And this comes down like so. And we said there was going to be some more of it came out that way. Now, you know, there's just hundreds of different kinds of barns. So pick the kind of barn that you want. The principles are basically the same. Doesn't matter what kind of barn you're doing. The principles are pretty much the same. There we are. Now on this side, we need another little protrusion. See there? There we are. And this paint, I'm just pushing it right into the fabric. I need that dark color underneath. So we put some highlights on top of it, then it'll show up. There. Okay, just keep going down. There we are. And we've got a pretty good old barn shape going there already. Not bad. Let's have some fun. Now we can begin putting color into our barn. I'm going to take some bright red, use some dark sienna. I want to dull it down. It's too bright unless we dull it down. Maybe you can put a little Van Dyke in there. There. I don't want this painting to be bright, but once again, if you want yours to be brighter, then all you have to do is make it that way. We just want to show you how to make it, then we're going to turn you loose on the world. Cut off our little roll of paint. Let's go right up here. Now then, let's put some roof up here, and I'm just going to let that knife just bounce. Bloop, 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 bloop. It helps to make those little sounds. Maybe I'll make that a tiny bit brighter so you can see it a little better. Put a little white in it. Don't think it's showing up as well as it should. There we go. Now you can see. Just let it bounce right along there. Helps if you make them little sounds. There. Once again, I want this to be old. So the old shingles up here, boy, they've caught the devil. Some of them are gone. Some of them blowed away in the last storm. And the looks of it, the rest of them are going to go in the next storm. There. Okay. A little bit over on this side. There we are. Shoot, oh, we got those shingles going. Let's put some out here. There you are. Okay. Boy, I wish it was that easy to actually build a barn. My father was a carpenter, and I grew up building things. I worked in houses all over Florida. In fact, if you live in Florida, you very possibly could live in a house that my dad and I worked on. There. And he was a master carpenter. Oh, he could do some beautiful things. Beautiful things. Let's take a little dark sienna, some white, pull it out very flat, cut across, get our little roll of paint again. Now then, let's put the icing on the cake here. Look at that. This is just like you're putting snow on the mountain. If you painted with me before and done mountains, and you've mastered that, this is easy for you to do. And I want to make this look like old, weathered wood. There. There we go. Beautiful. Delicate touch. Does not take any pressure. The knife will literally allow the paint just to come right off, just the right amount. A little dark right up here, because there'll be a shadow into that edge. A little bit of brown right into that edge. There. Now, take a little Van Dyke brown, I'll mix that same color, I want to darken it. I want to make it darker than it was. Now over here, it's going to be much darker on this side. Much, much darker. Just like so. Okay, let's put a door in here. Big door, it is right there. And that's all there is to it. Now we can take our knife and we can do a barnectomy. We can just cut it off wherever we think it should be. Okay. Take some straight Van Dyke brown. You can just put the indication of boards here and there. There. Looks like a lot of old boards. Now then, let's have some fun. We'll put some dark green grass all around his foot. Begin bringing that all together. Just using a 2-inch brush. And just begin laying in all kind of little grassy things. Just like so over here, in that direction. I'm just using cad yellow, little Indian yellow, little yellow ochre here and there, and work in layers. There. Okay, back to the other side. See how quick you can do that? A little touch of the bright red here and there, but not much, not too much, just enough to give it a little spark. I want this to remain very subdued in the foreground here. Don't want it to get too bright. There we go. Now we take some Van Dyke brown on the knife, and maybe here and there you can see what remains. There used to be an old path here, and the grass is beginning to grow up over it. But here and there, a little of it remains. Just a little. A little bit of grass that comes right up over the path, because it's about to eat this path up, what's left of it. See, it pays, when you're painting like this, make up little stories in your mind. Then there's a reason for all this happening, and it makes it much more fun. Tell you what. Let's have a little fence. I'm going to take Van Dyke brown, just use a small knife. Maybe there's a little fence still, part of it hanging out right about there. Just a little roll of paint on the knife. There it is. Just an old fence. Boy, that's a rough looking old fence. He's had a hard life. A little brown and white, touch the edges, bloop, bloop. There. Let's get the big knife here. And put the indication of a few rails that are still hanging on. There they go. Isn't that super? You can make a fence that fast. A little grass around the bottom. Cuts his little foots off and brings it together. Tell you what, got just a couple of minutes left here. You know me, I like big trees. Let's have a big tree. There's right there. Maybe he's got another arm. Comes right there. And this is straight Van Dyke brown. There it is. I like his big trees because it pushes everything back. Just makes the painting look much deeper. Take a little brown and white. Come right down this side. Just put the indication of some light striking that trunk. There. Isn't that neat? Okay, need some leaves on our tree. I'm going to take a little black, a little yellow ochre mixed together. Very dark though. Very, very dark. And maybe there lives in our world some nice leaves right out there, wherever you think they should be. See there? There's some right about here. And you can make these come as far as you want or leave them short, whatever. A little yellow ochre, a little bit of black. Let's go back in here and put the indication of a few highlights. Once again, I want this to remain quite dark. I want it to remain dark. With that, I think we're on the verge of having a finished painting. The old clock on the wall tells me I'm about out of time for today. So from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting and God bless.